So there's one more to go, and this time we're actually going to hear about the open data use, unlike I just promised. But now this is for real. So this time our talk is one of those that we had. Part of this year's program was created with this kind of open call, so which was like a little bit last-minute idea to see if there are any people who would, or any organizations that would have interesting cases to present as part of this year's program. And I was totally surprised by the number of submissions. At that stage, there were kind of over 10 submissions all over the world, basically. And then what we ended up with is that I was not able to fit much to the program at that stage anymore. But one of the presentations I wanted to include comes from maybe not that typical design agency in this kind of a area called Amerikka. And this work will be presented by Jere Gröhn, Chief Operating Officer, or something like that. Please welcome Jere.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Nice to hear that there was many submissions, and so I'm here. My name is actually Jere Gröhn, and I come from Design Office Amerikka, and we do property development, retail design, urban concepts, and probably our most well-known reference case would be Kamppi's fifth floor called Kortteli. That's the food and beverage concept in Kamppi. But yeah, let's cut this company jargon. You can read our website if you're more interested in our cases. So my today's topic is data-driven design, and my topic could be as well open data-driven concept design, but probably that could be quite strong statement. So for this question, I'd like to background a little bit this theme here. So evidence versus experience-based design, and I see this experience-based design as kind of sensei-based design. So formerly, I think many times there's like one visionary lead concept designer who knows quite well, or who thinks he or she knows better than others, and they can make the concept or their ideas by their own, of course, with the customer's brief. But anyway, and that actually work still today. But I see that's a little bit risky approach, because then you kind of you have to rely on one or two persons' competence or experiences. So that's why we usually use this evidence-based design as a design approach, which is a process of basing decisions with credible evidences. And the credible evidences, of course, they are as Matthias from IDEAN said, that they are kind of hybrid data, quantitative and qualitative. But in this case, so my topic, the open data today, that's only kind of one source of credible data. And the advantage of open data, I think, or we've seen in many projects that it's actually seen more credible or more objective than many times this customer's own data, especially when we are doing some plans for different projects, and then we have to present them to city authorities, for example, building in terms of building permit apply, then they believe us more when we base the decisions with the open data. And of course, it challenges our hypothesis or earlier assumptions of what we thought before we started the project. And open data, the main advantage is that it's just cheap because it's free. So it's easy to kind of go and play in the playground. And this next one, this is screenshot from one open source software called Quantum GIS, and I've downloaded there several servers from Helsinki Region Infoshare, from avoindata.fi, or from Statistics Finland, and basically using these mapping or map tools in open data. Usually this sets, in our projects, this sets the context, and for example, there the yellow border area is Hakaniemi accessibility or catchment area by walk or bicycle, and then those grids they includes information about population demographics, buildings, building functions, building square meters, etc. There are just vast amount of data, and you can basically layer up anything you like. And this Helsinki Region Infoshare gathers all Helsinki, Espoo, Vantaa, Kauniainen opened up data, and they are really leading they are like forerunners of globally of opening the data up. So it would be, in my perspective, it would be quite stupid not to use or not to try out these tools and their data. But then let's continue to. I have gathered few cases that I can show you. The first one is Mall of Tripla cycling concept. We done this few years back, but the project started like Tripla. They wanted to have a novel cycling concept, and there are non-innovative cycling concepts in Finland. They are basically quite dummy, those cycling where you put and lock your cycle and that's it. There are no services around them. But then of course the challenge was, is there enough demand in Finland? There are several quite nice concepts in London or Amsterdam or Copenhagen or whatever. But then we had our view what to do and what it should be, but then the question was, is there enough demand? And then we started to combine different open data sources. Like here we took those calculation points where are how many bicyclists every year, and then we took this Bana 2025 network, which actually was really first time that gave us kind of wow insight that this is the best spot in Helsinki where to locate this new novel cycling concept, because basically it's the easiest route from north to Helsinki city center. Even when you come a little bit west north, it's still faster than, for example, Mannerheimintie. And then, but anyway, the location was perfect. And then we started to believe that okay, this actually could work. Let's find an operator who can do this kind of new approach. And of course, in Finland, there are none of that kind of operators. Or at that point, there were basically brick and mortar bicycle stores and repair workshops, but they don't. Many of them, they didn't have any clue what we are aiming for. But then some operators, they understand that this is actually quite awesome potential, and I think this map actually influenced that they started as well to believe this concept. And I really hope this will succeed. This will be opened up in approximately a month when Mall of Tripla opens in next, is it 17th of October. Then the second case, this is as well. This is quite simple analysis. All the data is open and all the data is free. But of course it needed some analysis with that quantum GIS software. We took Statistics Finland one database where we find those grids and where how many people lives which those 100 by 100 meter grids and how many are working there. Then we take the boundaries of kind of catchment areas. And then we take the numbers and visualize them in Microsoft Power BI, and this took like 5 minutes to do, but it totally changed our view of how can we kind of categorize metro stations. The new metro was just about to begin or was launched, so then those old ones seems a little bit outdated. So then it needed to have some new concepts, but it's still quite difficult to make all new concept for every station. So we try to figure out if there's some ways to put them different baskets, and this wasn't probably the last one we did, but this helped us to understand that for example Helsinki University, there are really few people living just nearby that station, but a huge amount of people using every day commuting to work or university. And then, for example, Herttoniemi, which has quite few people working there, but living there and commuting each day from Herttoniemi to work. And then probably the last case for today is Kruunuvuorenranta center block competition. We made this retail-facing model for our competition proposal, and the problem was that how we make sure that kind of local retail center does not kind of die before the whole area is ready, so called, because when this center block is ready, it isn't actually in the center of Kruunuvuorenranta. So and there are only 5,000 people. So it limits the viability of retail business there. And quite often we've noticed that Helsinki City, for example, of course they don't make the kindergartens beforehand. They as well wait the critical mass. So we suggested that there could be some flexible spaces that Helsinki City can rent for kindergartens, etc. And then when the whole game basically changes, probably 2026, when those Kruunu the huge bridge from Kruunuvuorenranta to Merihaka will be ready, then there are a lot more traffic, then a lot more residents living there, then you can start to bring more food and beverage, or then you can start bring more specialty retail, and then they will live, because the most difficult thing for these kind of retail centers is that if they don't start working quite soon, then they just it's impossible to find new tenants that kind of place if there's many bankruptcies. So yeah, then I have some backup cases, but I think I was too optimistic about this. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jere, and sorry about my confabulations for the name and other things.
Yeah, it's fine.
I have a few questions, though. I think one of the reasons I wanted to have Amerikka to present this case was not only due to the open data thing, but also because this has been rather UI or UX design centered event for over several years. But I think it's always kind of good reminder to see that people also do design from in different domains and different angles. And one of the things we've seen today earlier on quite fancy examples of how the UI design is developing. And now that I'm looking at the kind of examples that were here about kind of tools and practices that you use, I mean, I understand that the output is very different, but how do you kind of feel now that you've at least seen some of the stuff that goes on in the UI design tools? How do you kind of feel that how well are the kind of tools that you have, like the GIS tools and others, how well they are supporting what you do in your own kind of business?
My background is I'm an engineer, so I love this interface of this.
So you get
quantum
adapted.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I really think many of these kind of tools, they are just. I believe they require some time to get to know it, but then they are quite flexible. Of course, they are not the prettiest one.
Have you kind of seen this kind of development where people would be sneaking in more features that have offer some sort of intelligence, as we've been talking here a lot today about?
Yeah, I've seen Adobe is bringing different new quite clever functions all the time, because we've using Adobe's software quite much as well. But
and how much, I mean, now looking at the cases that you showed, how important do you think it's able to be effective with the open data in terms of how much the competitiveness of your kind of case proposals is built upon the kind of clever use of data?
what would I say there?
Could you be as successful as you are without the job that you're doing?
No one, yes. Basically, I think we still, many of our concepts are still, we has as well that kind of visionary designers, but I think these open source and open data cases, yeah, I think they will bring us lots credibility, and especially in terms of big clients, big real estate investors who believe in numbers. So I think they I think that this is profitable or.
Good. Do we have any questions, comments from the audience? If no, then we please give a big hand to Jere, who has the unfortunate thing for being last.